Good morning and a very warm welcome to St Andrews with Michael, with Malcolm and today with Nadia, which is really nice.
And the jingle.
And the jingle. And I hope you appreciate our colour photograph with a beheaded Mike.
Is that just my shoulder?
Just his head.
The shirt says it all.
Yeah. So and we're sort of aside. No, we're not. No.
Yeah.
Not quite. Anyway.
Yeah, just go back a bit to be a bit smaller.
Deuteronomy.
Yeah, this is really
4.
interesting. So he says all these things about don't make images of me. Is that right? In the first
Don't
bit?
try and make images of me, and don't try and worship anything that is, it's because if you like, I suspect, we just need something that's there to physical and that's easy to worship that. And the foolish thing is if you make something and then worship it, that is rather mad, silly.
Right. It's an interesting dilemma though, isn't it? Because you need something to project your thoughts onto.
Yeah.
So he really says nothing. He says even the stars and the moon and the heavens above.
Because people did worship and treated the sun as a god, the moon as a god. I suppose the difference is about looking at the sun, looking at the moon and saying God created those.
Okay, right.
They're not God. God created them.
Right. They're manifestation.
And they're sort of, and we yes, that's right. And we read that God's power and eternal nature is made visible through creation.
Right. Interesting.
But
and then,
I do like just thinking about the great quote about the average Englishman. The average Englishman is a self-made man who worships his creator.
Right. That's clever.
So,
right.
Anyway.
Very nice. And then he goes on and says, the Lord was angry with me because of you, and he vowed that I should not cross. So that's basically Moses. God was angry with Moses, which is why he never let him see the promised land. Is that right?
What happens is the people are getting at Moses and saying to him, "Why are we're dying of thirst here?" And and Moses gets really annoyed with God and says, "What do we do?" And God says, "Go to that rock and just speak to it, and water will flow out of it."
Right.
And Moses goes to the rock and he gets his staff and he goes whack on it, and water comes out. But God says, "Moses."
Right, that's not why.
That's not what I said actually. And so Moses is here saying to them, you were the ones who made me lose it.
Right.
So
that's right, isn't it? I mean, as a result of certain issues between God and Moses, he had said you won't see.
God said you won't go to the promised land. I think one of the lovely things though is that on the Mount of Transfiguration, when Jesus is transformed, it's Moses and Elijah appearing with him. So Moses, in his human life, does not go into the promised land.
Right.
But in his glorified life, he does.
He's there.
He's there.
Great.
And then the last bit. Again,
yes, that's it. About scattering you all. About basically going to go into the promised land, and then it's all going to go south from there, in the sense that you're going to be bad, and I'm going to scatter you everywhere, and you'll be utterly destroyed. It doesn't look good, does it?
No. But it's interesting when you have had children and children's children and become complacent in the land. That's such a key thing, isn't it? I mean, things go well, things go badly. We cry out to God. God help us.
Right.
God comes and helps us, and then we forget God. And we think, well, I've done this. I'm rather good, aren't I?
Right.
And we become complacent, and we forget God and walk away from Him.
But it's a really interesting passage, that, and all sorts of bits in it.
There's lots in there.
Yeah. And then John also a very intriguing piece. And it's quite mysterious, isn't it? He sort of says 3 times to Simon Peter, do you love me? And then I love the 3rd time, he kind of gets a little bit angry. It's like, well, for goodness sake, you know I love you. Why do you keep on asking me? You know. It's sort of intriguing.
But it's 3 times because Peter denies him 3 times.
Right.
And so each time, which is why the 3rd time, it's really rather tough. It's getting to Peter.
Right.
Peter's denied him 3 times. 3 times Jesus asks him, "Do you love me?"
Right.
And it's interesting. The first question, do you love me more than these, pointing to the other disciples?
Right.
Or maybe more than the fish, but I suspect it is more than the others. More than the others. You, Lord. And he says, yes, Lord, you know I love you. The second time, though, do you do you just love me? Not more than the others.
Right.
Do you just love me? And the third time, do you love me? Apparently the Greek word is slightly different in these. I'm not quite sure. Do you agape me, love me?
Right.
Do you love me? I would need to look more into that. But equally, this commission, this is the new commissioning of Peter. Jesus doesn't rebuke him. He just simply says 3 times, do you love me? And then this last bit.
It's intriguing about the belt.
Yeah. I love it though, you know. Yes, there's this thing about when you grow old, you know, Peter's denied Jesus once, but there will come a time when he will be arrested and executed for Jesus.
Right.
And Jesus still says to him, in the light of that, still follow me.
But what is it's interesting about the idea of the belt? He says when you were younger, you fastened yourself and sort of dashed off and did your thing. But then when you get older, someone else, you will stretch out your hands and someone else will fasten a belt around you and take you where you do not wish to go. Is that what's that?
Well, it's
died on the cross as well.
Yeah.
He died on the cross as well.
Oh, did he? Was he crucified?
He was
And
crucified.
upside down, as far as I know.
Oh, really?
So yeah, because he didn't want to die the same way as Jesus did, so he asked
To be upside down?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
And in fact, John writes, he'd said this to indicate the kind of death by which he would glorify God.
Right.
In other words, but having said that's a very powerful thing, you know, even for people growing older as well. You know, when you're younger, you do what you want. You do,
Right, yeah.
But when you perhaps grow much older, you know, it's other people. You suddenly are dependent on other people to do
exactly.
stuff. And that's really that becomes the hardest thing when it's not your will that's done, it's other people's will.
Right.
And particularly so in Peter's case, this because he was going to be led to be killed.
Yeah.
But
Yes,
Jesus
right,
says still,
right.
follow me.
Interesting.
Yeah. Lovely.
Great. Okay.
Have a great day. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us. And
That was
hope
great.
to see you. Well, hope to see you soon.
Monday, we'll be here.
Bless
Great.
you.
Lovely.
Bye-bye.
Have a great Friday. Bye.
Bye-bye.